some years ago, a lady died, an older lady died in Wellington Hospital as a medical condition. She left her husband and he was shot to pieces. He was really, really upset. And the girls, the daughters were okay accepting and understanding that it was a medical thing that was, inevitable. Anyway, remembered seeing a dog there. And I talking to him one day and he was pretty quiet and what are you doing? And he said, oh, just miserable watching TV and not really watching it. And I said, what about your dog? And he said, oh, that was my wife's dog. And I said to him, do you think that your wife would want you just to sort of pretend that the dog wasn't there because she isn't? And he thought about it and basically he said, well, I suppose not. I said, take him out for a walk and start looking after him like your wife would, and it'll be good for you. You remember her. And anyway, he did. And I rang him again a couple of weeks later and he wasn't there. And tried a couple of hours after that. And he said, I was out walking with the dog. Sounded different, life had been restored by this pet. And it's a case of looking for little openings like that you can sort of weave into something important for them. And I kept in touch with him and he got through it. But it was, thanks to the dog.
I always remember it stuck in the back of my mind about the training because they said, I said, look, I don't know how I'm going to cope with this role. I'm quite emotional. And they said, look, you can cry with your client, but don't sob uncontrollably. So that was always in the back of my mind, and I was sitting there with the wife who was very distraught. The grandchildren were around and we were holding hands and I was just stroking her hand and she was, and crying. And I had a tear and the little children go, you cry? And I went, yes, I am. Anyway, we had to go and tell her husband's mother, who's elderly. So I said, right, I'll meet you down there. So we all drove down there and hello, I'm in a room of 40 other family members, which was quite a shock. But they were so, in the moment of tragedy, they were so respectful of me. They were all talking in their native language, which was fine by me. I was sitting with the wife and still holding hands and they were saying, translate. I said, please don't translate for me. This is your time, not mine. And so they were very grateful for that and they told the mother what happened. And it was such a loving time for all the family. And it's not always about the tragedies. I did just a case that a gentleman was racial discrimination and he was being abused over the phone. And so I got involved with that, and I think we were only a period of four or 5 weeks, and I didn't feel like I really did a lot. I just rang him and talked to him because the children were too scared to answer the phone. So he answered the phone all the time. So when I talked to him, and it wasn't until probably a month later, I got a letter from head office saying what a wonderful support I gave. And I thought, goodness me, there are times you don't think you do anything. But, just listen to them. Yeah. And here he was going to head office to thank me, and they sent me a letter saying, well done. I'm thinking, okay. So,
not surprised, Karen, you do a wonderful job.
Please stop it.